What if I told you that the most revolutionary homes aren't the ones that scream for attention, but the ones that whisper in perfect harmony with their surroundings? Today, I'm taking you inside Casa Rosas in Argentina, a house that completely redefines what it means to live between architecture and nature. Located at the foot of the Tucumán hills in Argentina, Casa Rosas by Etéreo Arquitectos presents us with a masterclass in restraint and intention. From the street, this single-story residence appears deceptively simple, compact, grounded, almost humble. But this apparent simplicity is actually the result of extraordinary architectural sophistication. The architects made a brilliant decision to organize the entire house into just two clearly defined wings, one for social activities and another for private spaces and services. This isn't just practical, it's poetic. The linear arrangement creates what the architects call deep perspectives that literally invite you to walk through and discover the house as a journey, not just a destination. Notice how the material palette immediately connects you to the earth. Exposed concrete, natural wood, and their contemporary interpretations. These aren't decorative choices, they're philosophical statements about how architecture should relate to its landscape. Here's where Casa Rosas becomes truly exceptional, the way it handles light and transparency. The architects have created what I call a choreography of illumination. Natural light doesn't just enter this house, it's controlled, modulated, and always present, sculpting surfaces and revealing textures as the day progresses. Look at these massive glass panels. They don't just provide views, they completely eliminate the boundaries between inside and outside. The landscape doesn't stop at the window, it flows directly into your daily living experience. This is particularly powerful in the common areas, which open generously toward the garden, creating what architects call dissolved limits between architecture and nature. But here's the genius detail, the pivoting sunshade system. These aren't just functional elements for privacy and solar control, they add dynamic movement to the facade. The building literally breathes and responds to changing conditions throughout the day. Now, let's talk about one of the most sophisticated moves in this design, the internal courtyard. This isn't just a pretty feature, it's an environmental and psychological strategy. By introducing vegetation as an active part of the interior design, the architects achieve three things simultaneously: natural cooling, visual serenity, and spatial continuity. This courtyard creates what I call interior landscape moments. As you move through the house, you're constantly encountering nature, not as decoration, but as a living, breathing component of your architectural experience. The freshness it provides isn't just physical, it's psychological, creating moments of pause and reflection within the home's circulation. The interior atmosphere becomes warm and introspective. White walls meet natural wood, and every opening is carefully framed to create views that are both functional and poetic. Each window tells a story about the relationship between the inhabitants and their environment. And in our era of environmental awareness, isn't that exactly the kind of architecture we need? From a technical standpoint, Casa Rosas showcases intelligent structural thinking. The reinforced concrete structure uses inverted beams, a sophisticated engineering solution that allows for large spans without visible intermediate supports. What does this mean for the inhabitants? Complete spatial freedom and flexibility of use. This structural system isn't just about showing off engineering prowess, it's about creating spaces that can adapt to how people actually live. The absence of visible structural interruptions means the interior spaces flow naturally, supporting the overall design philosophy of seamless integration between different areas of the house. Pay attention to the small architectural gestures, the custom-designed built-in furniture, the curved elements that welcome you, the way light settles on different materials. These aren't afterthoughts, they're integral to the project's identity, creating what the architects describe as a serene, timeless, and domestic quality. Casa Rosas represents a profound architectural philosophy. The idea that the best buildings don't impose themselves on the landscape, they merge with it. This house achieves an extraordinary balance between aesthetics, functionality, and comfort through what appears to be simple design moves, but are actually carefully orchestrated spatial strategies. The pure lines and carefully designed vanishing points don't exist for their own sake. They support daily life with naturalness and elegance. This is architecture that understands that the highest sophistication often appears effortless. Casa Rosas proves that revolutionary architecture doesn't need to shout. Sometimes the most profound architectural statements are made through whispers, through the careful modulation of light, the thoughtful integration of landscape, and the creation of spaces that feel inevitable rather than imposed. This house doesn't just shelter its inhabitants, it teaches them how to live more consciously with their environment. And in our era of environmental awareness, isn't that exactly the kind of architecture we need?